Hello, everyone. Welcome to Value Articulation Clinic. My name is Jamie Lee. I'm an executive coach for smart women who hate office politics. I help them get promoted and better paid without throwing anyone under the bus. This edition of Value Articulation Clinic is focusing around mid-year reviews. I know some companies have already had their mid-year reviews in July, and some companies are just finalizing their second quarter details, and now they're booking their mid-year reviews for August and beyond. And some companies have mid-year reviews at all different times of the year, September, October. But what we do know is that if you do have a mid-year review or any sort of like a check-in ahead of the final performance review at the end of year performance review, the annual review, having that conversation is important. Having that conversation is crucial, especially if you want to get promoted at the end of this year or at the beginning of next year. If you want to be able to influence decision making ahead of the budget making process. So again, every company is different. Some companies do this at different times of the year, but many of my clients who work for large corporations, especially if they have many divisions, many of those companies do their end of year budget making, budget deciding process. They usually do that sometime in the fall, September, October, right? Ahead of the next calendar year. And so the mid-year review is very strategic because you get to position yourself. You get to set an expectation. You get to, let the supervisor, the decision makers know that this is something that you want ahead of that budget making process. You get to inform. When you do this well, you get to inform, you get to influence the budget decisions. And especially if you want a raise, and why not? Some of my, best and brightest clients, what they do is they ask for a raise every year. Why shouldn't you, right? Because you are adding value, you are diligent, you show up, and you're good at what you do, And so again, I'm just trying to help everyone understand why the mid-year review is important, why it matters, especially if you have a career goal that impacts decisions, budget decisions, or promotion decisions. Now, if there are no mid-year reviews, that's okay. Your one-on-one check-ins, your informal check-ins with your supervisor, with your skip level manager, or with other decision makers, that's another opportunity to advocate for your value, make a case for the promotion or raise or the opportunity that you want. All is not lost. I speak frequently on this topic about how to advocate, negotiate for your career advancement. And if you really want to dive deeper into the how and the why and the specifics of the what, I have several workshops that I have delivered to leading organizations, and you can listen to them for free. You can listen to them for free on my podcast, and you can access my podcast, Negotiate Your Career Growth with Jamie. You can access it directly from my website. You go to my website and click on podcast, or you could go to podcast.jamieleecoach.com. So I will, let's see, I'm going to pop that right into, I'm going to add the link to my podcast right into the chat. Okay. And I'm sharing that because, again, I want to be able to help you today. I routinely, regularly teach on the specifics, the how, the what, the steps of effective self-advocacy for your career growth. And you can access those workshops for free directly from my podcast. The link is in the chat, podcast.jamieleecoach.com. But today, my intention is to help you apply it to yourself. If you've been getting my emails, you know my agenda. My agenda is to sell you on you. We are in this unprecedented time in US politics. If you are based in the US, or if you're a US citizen, or if you care about US politics, you've seen what's happening. We have the first woman of color, the first woman vice president running for president, the seat that has historically been occupied by a person who is male and pale and often stale, right? We're seeing this play out. We're seeing the ambitions of so many people who follow me, so many people that I know, so many people that I coach. We're seeing that ambition play out in the biggest stage imaginable. And now the fight is getting nasty. We're seeing racial slurs, we're seeing racism, sexism, slung at Kamala Harris. And it just, brings home to me how, again, yeah, the world is flawed. And there are very weird and strange, bigoted people out in the world. And often and sometimes we have the misfortune of working with them or for them. But nevertheless, what I love seeing Kamala Harris do is she stands her ground and she advocates. She makes a case for herself, for her candidacy, for freedom, right? For the rights of people. And when I see that, I'm like, yes, this is what we need to do for ourselves as well. We need to first be able to vote for ourselves, make a case to ourselves, sell ourselves on ourselves for the capacity that we have, for the work we have to do, and what we are capable of. What she's doing, we also need to do for ourselves in our careers. And every day I help my clients, bright, talented, compassionate, kind, service-oriented women professionals, struggle to advocate for themselves, struggle with mid-year reviews, even though they are working hard, even though they're really good at what they do. Yeah, I'm so intimately familiar with myself, and I see my clients struggle with this every day. And so my intention is not to repeat the lessons that I've already been teaching on my podcast, in my webinars, in my workshops, but to help you apply it for yourself so that you can feel confident and strong. And you can feel confident that when you fight for yourself, when you make a case for yourself, you're gonna win. Yeah? Okay. So having said that, here's what I would love to do with the 50 next minutes that we have in this clinic. I would like to very briefly walk you through the 5 questions, 5 steps, 5 questions you want to ask yourself so that you can feel ready, confident, to advocate for your professional value and your ambitions. And then I'm going to open up the floor. You're literally going to be able to put your hand up. You could, click on the raise hand button that's in your Zoom interface. If you're joining this from your desktop, it's at the bottom of the Zoom screen. There is a raise hand button. So later on, I'm going to open up the floor so you can raise your hand. I'm going to promote you to panelists, and I'm going to help you, okay? One by one. And time permitting, I would also like to conclude this with something that my clients love, something that is clinically proven, something that numerous research and gold-winning Olympians prove to be effective, which is mental rehearsal. Mental rehearsal is something that I'll walk you through it. Basically, we're just going to relax. At worst, you're just gonna feel a little bit more relaxed. If nothing else happens, you're gonna come away from feeling, oh, I feel a little bit relaxed, yeah? But once you relax, you're going to mentally rehearse. You're going to imagine seeing yourself, whether that is mid-year review, whether that is one-on-one with your boss, seeing yourself feeling the way you want to feel, saying the things you want to say, yeah, doing the things you want to do, and feeling good at the end of that, right? Michael Phelps, the gold-winning swimmer, does this. He mentally rehearses, seeing himself stroke by stroke, swimming that winning swim. Yeah. I've not been following the Olympics this summer, so I don't know if you want to gold again, but uh, any case, that's something I would like to walk everyone through, and we'll conclude with mental rehearsal, okay? My intention is to help you be able to speak about your professional accomplishments, your ideas, your ambitions, your ask in a way that, that has you feeling grounded, calm, confident, right? With that said, here are the 5 questions. So simple, very, very simple. Number 1, what have I done, right? And the first question is not, how do I assess what I've done? Did I do good enough? What do other people think? Is someone thinking I'm stepping on their toes? Or are people questioning my capabilities, my potential? No, it's like, nope. Number 1, what actually got done through me and the people that I manage? So if you manage people, right, you are also responsible for the contributions and accomplishments of people who report to you. So you're going to take stock. What got done so far this year, or since I've been assigned to this role, since I've been assigned to this project? What actually got done? Okay. And this question is intended to be an objective measurement, objective, like taking stock. Like, let's literally just, take notes. Or if you have a dashboard, like one of my clients tells me, she has a running Excel spreadsheet in which she's keeping stock, like it's an ongoing practice for her. Every time she's working on a project, she notes like what got done, what's the progress, is it meeting objectives, right? She's constantly keeping stock. So there is a log, there is a record of the work she is doing and the progress, right? It's beautiful because when she went to the mid-year review, she could just be like, okay, I'm looking at my spreadsheet. Here's the list, and here are the highlights. Yeah, what got done? Number 1. Number 2, right? Number 2 is, and then what happened because of what got done? Yeah. So instead of, again, we're not assessing, we're not evaluating. So many of my clients think, oh, they're very tempted to jump into conclusions, jump into assessments because they're anticipating that their supervisor or whomever they're having that mid-year review conversation with, that they're going to be assessing. So they feel like it's necessary for me to jump into the assessment. But I'm like, no, stop. We don't do that yet. And here's why. Because when we first jump into assessment, it's so easy for our biases, unquestioned biases, limiting beliefs, itty bitty shitty committee, yeah? The internalized voice that says, oh, who do you think you are? Maybe you didn't do it good enough, or someone's mad at you. Like that voice is going to color your assessment. And so we're just going to put that aside. We're like, okay, we'll come back to that. But for now, we're just going to ask number 1, what got done? Number 2, then what happened because of what got done, right? What were the ripple effect? What was the first ripple? Yeah, after you ran that survey or you presented to the senior leaders on your proposal for how to, move forward with a project. What happened after that? Did other conversations get scheduled? Did stakeholders become informed? Did your team become better equipped, even with, was that one iteration? Like, do they have now a case study for how to repeat the project or the presentation? Should you delegate it to them, right? So what happened right after because of what got done? So we're going to start assessing the ripple effects. And then the third question is, okay, what else will become possible because of what got done and what happened after that? Yeah. Are we learning more? Are we becoming more familiar? Are we developing and cultivating a relationship with a key stakeholder? Are we making inroads into how we market this product or this project? Yeah. What else becomes possible? So now we're thinking beyond the immediate task, beyond the immediate stakeholders. We're thinking just, okay, we're going to step back and we're going to assess what else becomes possible. Yeah. So again, to recap, the first question, what got done? Second question is what happened because of what got done, right? That was the first ripple of the ripple effect. And then number three is now we're going to continue ride the ripple. Like, what else becomes possible? So this is the part where most of my clients, they're like, oh, I never thought of it that way. Yeah. They're like, oh, right. That was at the back of my head, but now I bring it to the forefront of my attention. I'm like, oh yeah, these other things will also become possible. And other stakeholders, potential clients or future clients, or other stakeholders in the company will benefit from that. Yeah. So that was the first got done. What became possible? What else becomes possible, right? In the future, right? And then number four is, where do I want to go in the future? Like, where do I want to direct this conversation? Even if it's like next week, even if it's, next month, next quarter, right? If you have a desire, like, I want to be assigned more projects like the one I just completed, right? Or I want to have more ownership into projects that I lead. Yeah. So we're identifying the desire for your future. It doesn't have to be like a grandiose, oh, I want to be CHRO or CFO in 5 years. We don't even have to go there. It's like, no, what else would make the near immediate future better for you? Right? So that's number four, because it's going to lead to the fifth question, right? What specific and actionable thing can I ask for in that conversation that'll help both me and my conversation partner, my supervisor or boss, like let both of us know that we are making progress towards that future. Okay, so to recap, what got done, what became possible, what happened because of what got done, what else becomes possible because of what got done, where do I want to go in the near future? Like, what direction do I want to take? What is my desire, right? And it doesn't have to be grandiose, more specific, concrete, the better. And then number five is, what can I ask for? So let me give you an example. A client of mine is a managing director at a fund, and she is leading projects. She's leading deals, right? And she hasn't yet closed the deal. So in her mind, like, she wanted to assess, and she's like, well, maybe it's not good enough because I haven't yet completed a deal. But getting a deal done is outcome of a much bigger and longer process, right? So I asked her the question, what got done? What have you done? And she's like, well, we had many meetings. We have learned a lot of things. We initiated a conversation with a potential deal partner, and we made a proposal, right? She's gotten as close, well, she's gotten at least more than halfway in the process for the desired outcome of closing the deal. I'm like, that's great. Okay. And what else happened because of what got done? That's the second question, right? She's like, well, what else happened is that my team they're getting a framework for how to do this in a brand new way that's never been done before. And we're also growing our marketability with brokers and other people who can help us get more deals like this done. Like, well, that's great. Okay. And what else what else will become possible because of what got done? So what else can happen is that we can potentially have more deal partnerships. We can think about how to do deals in a brand new way that has never been done before in our field. Like, okay, that's a lot of value, right? And then I asked her, okay, what do you want? That's the fourth question. What do you want? What would make this better for you in the near and immediate future? And she said, what I would love more is to have introductions to other people who are in the know, in the mix for a deal like this. And so number 5, what specific can you ask for? She said, what would be great is an introduction directly from my supervisor to this so-and-so. I'm like, good. Okay. So now that we have assessed everything, the progress you have made, right, which is significant, even if you don't yet have the outcome, right, we're still learning, we're learning a lot. That is valuable, right? And now you can tell your supervisor, I'm enjoying the learning process. And here's what can become possible because of the learning process we are in right now. Yes, we may close that deal, but even if we don't, we have learning, we have skills, we have frameworks, we can replicate this, or we can adapt, right? And what I would really like to ask from you, supervisor, is for you to make me an introduction to so-and-so so that we can continue this conversation and deepen it, deepen the learning, right? So now she's able to, she's like, oh, okay. So, I don't have to worry about defending why the deal isn't gotten done, right? We can, of course, talk about it, but it wasn't as important at all. Yeah. And she said the way when she presented the information like that, the mid-year review went really well. Okay. So that's an example of applying those 5 questions. And again, if you want to dive deeper with more specific details, and scripts, come to my podcast. Listen to the first episode. I mean, the latest one, the 5 steps to crush your mid-year review. You could apply it. For now, I would like to open up the floor for anyone who would like help applying this simple process to your self-advocacy. So you can raise your hand. Click on the raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom interface, and you can join me and I will ask you questions about, where you are, and we don't have to go into too much detail. It's okay. You just tell me as much as you need to or you want to, and then I want to help you apply this process so that you can feel more confident talking about what you have done, where you want to go in your career. Oh, wait. Usually the first person has to be a little bit more brave than the second person who volunteers. Courtney, Courtney, I love your art. All right, so I am going to promote you to panelist, and I'll let you decide if you want to have your video on or not. Hello. You're on mute.
Okay, there. Hi.
Courtney,
Oh, thanks for this.
Mhm.
I was just gonna say thanks for having this talk.
Yeah, you're most welcome. Can I share that you make art?
Yeah, for sure.
And you have a really, really fun Instagram account. I think it's your name, right?
Yeah.
Courtney.
Well, it's just La Fabiana. That's my
Okay.
last.
And congratulations on your baby. I saw that.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually coming out of maternity leave soon.
Okay.
So And I'm going back to my previous job that I've had. Um, but I guess I am so bad at like asking for anything. I'm just like, I am so bad at yeah, advocating for myself and saying, this is what I've done and this is why I think. And I'm always like, well, maybe there's not enough in the budget for them. I'm always making excuses for
Oh, would you
my,
like to ask for this?
huh?
Is there something you would like to ask for this time when you come back from maternity leave?
Um, yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
I think I would like to ask for more money,
Yeah.
and kind of if that's not possible because it's a smaller company, then maybe like a 4-day work week. Uh,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a small company, so I'm also aware that there is a limit. Um,
What company do you work for?
it's a marketing agency.
Okay. And what do you do?
I am an account and project manager.
Okay.
Hmm.
Have you had a cost of living adjustment to your salary since you started?
Yes, but I wouldn't say it's um like a real actual adjustment. I don't think it's like enough to say. Um
Have you ever looked at, what people who are
yeah,
in similar role make?
I'm I'm like way below that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And um
And so, but I also like what happens is I have a lot of freedom at like I have as much vacation as I want. I have flexible hours. It is a very small company.
yeah,
Um, so I'm like, but it's getting now, especially that I have a kid. I'm like, wait, I need a little bit more.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I think
So
I get in my head about that.
yeah, totally understandable where you are. We're not going to make a case based on the fact that you have a kid, even though, I mean, it's
Yeah,
really annoying
yeah,
because we do know that there is like this, that men tend to get rewarded when they have children, whereas
yeah,
it's really annoying and it's wrong. But to help you make the best case, I would like to suggest let's think about the why of the ask that
yeah,
would make sense for your organization, right?
yeah. I already like so in the last year and a half, 3 full-time people have left.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't like hired any more full-time people
Mm-hmm.
to take on their work.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like
Okay,
me,
quick question. Quick question. Who would you be having this conversation with?
the owner.
Okay, the owner. It's a small company. Okay. Now, do you have any sense, do you have any visibility into the amount of money the clients whose work you do, for whom you do the work, right?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
here's where my brain is going. If there were three people who were doing the work, each person was responsible for a certain amount of revenue,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
now, tell me if I'm wrong, I'm guessing that you're doing work that would address,
Yeah.
you're filling the revenue gap.
Yeah.
So then the ask becomes a lot more business, a lot more rational. It's like, okay, let's think about how much revenue I'm responsible for.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just, maybe this is something, homework you can do for yourself, but I'm just gonna pull up a number out of my butt just for the sake of this conversation. Let's say each client was 100K client,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And do you have a sense of how many clients are being serviced?
I manage about like 25 accounts. And
Okay.
then, yeah, when I go back, it'll be more.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we're just doing like made up math for now for the sake of simplicity, right? So if you used to be responsible for $2.5 million worth of revenue, because 25 times 100K is $2.5 million, I think, right? Now you're going to be responsible for $2.8 million in revenue,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Okay.
Hmm.
So based on that, right? I mean, think about it. Like your salary is a reflection of the value you bring to the organization,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But if mathematically, again, made up number, but if you were bringing $2.8 million, like, or responsible for securing $2.8 million of revenue, right?
Hmm.
It's just like, could we have a conversation about making my compensation so that it reflects the amount of
Yeah.
value that I'm
Yeah.
seeking for the organization?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
No, I think that makes sense because I haven't like come at it from that angle. I've been more like, well, these people have left, so and I'm picking up their work. So, but when I talk about instead of like the like focusing it more on like the value that I'm bringing
Yeah.
with instead of like this happened and now I'm doing this, which sounds almost a little bit like I don't know. Um,
What I'm suggesting is now we're going to approach it from the way a business owner would think, right?
yeah,
Employees are ways to secure and bring in revenue,
yeah, yeah.
right? But
Hmm.
you're going to be responsible for we're going to, I think it's fair to say you're going to be responsible for more of the revenue.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
what if you said, owner, I really enjoy my work here, and I would like to have a conversation about reviewing my compensation because I would like for it to reflect the scope and the value of the work I do
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I like having those words are is helpful. I definitely I get just in my head, but like so and when I go to ask
Yeah.
about that, I'm like, oh, but I know this is happening. I know this, and like where like I just need to be focused on like, okay, this is yeah, like the scope of my work and the value of my position, and yeah, I think that makes sense. Oy.
Okay, well, how are you feeling right now? What's coming up?
No, I don't like asking for more money, so that's
Yeah, why not?
yeah. I think I don't know. I've talked with other colleagues about this and they're like, yeah, I know it's hard, but you just have to do it. But I tend to be very like, well, thinking about it from like giving everybody the benefit of the doubt and being like, well, if they had more money, they'd pay me more money.
No, they would
Um,
not.
exactly. Yeah, that's not the case. So
And,
yeah,
and here's why. I used to work, inside companies, and I used to be part of like HR and back office operations. And
yeah,
the people who run the organization, they will ask, well, do they ask for more money?
yeah,
If not, then why are we giving away our profits?
hmm,
Right?
yeah,
Because we need to, and so it's a question of, does the employee want it and ask for it? They're gonna look for that. And right,
yeah,
and women get disadvantaged because we're socialized to feel like embarrassed about money,
hmm,
uncomfortable asking for money. We're socialized in this way, right?
yeah,
Like we shouldn't be greedy and selfish, right? And then it
yeah,
pulls us back from earning what we truly deserve,
hmm,
from having salary that actually reflects the value of your work.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, I've been at this company for almost 4 years. And I at the beginning of the 4 years, I was like, this is great. I'm happy with what I'm making, but I don't know if you've seen this, but like salaries, I mean, inflation and like I have to make way more now
Why,
from
what is that extra money gonna mean for you when you make, I don't know, well, I'm just
like
gonna make up a number. If you make $10,000 more, what's it gonna mean for you?
just like security and like being able to save more.
Uh-huh. And when you have security and when you're able to save more, what else is gonna change in your personal life?
Yeah, I'll definitely be less stressed about like
Okay.
me. And I think I'll just be a little bit more at ease about
Huh?
because I like where I work. But uh and I'm not it's you know, I can pay my rent and it, like everything is fine, but I'm like okay, but I kind of need the net like I need I need to grow a little bit to feel more at ease with my finances.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what's that gonna mean for your family?
Um yeah, a lot. Just having me because I am the like main provider or the it'll just if I'm less stressed about work or about money,
Mm-hmm.
reflect on everybody else is gonna be more chill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Hmm.
I want you to look at me. I want to show you a technique that
Yeah.
every single one of my clients love. It's super fast, it's super simple. Okay. And let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
So I want you to look at me and now follow me like monkey see, monkey do. All right. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to put your palms up like this.
Okay.
You're gonna tap one side, like the hi, yeah, the karate chop side. You're just gonna tap it. And now you're gonna repeat after me.
Okay.
Okay. Even though
Even though
I have the thought
I have the thought
that I don't like asking for money,
that I don't like asking for money,
I completely accept,
I completely accept,
love,
love,
and honor myself.
and honor myself.
That's right. So everyone else who also feels uncomfortable, follow along. Do this with us, okay? And now you're gonna tap the very top of your head, your crown chakra, and now you're gonna
Mhm.
say out loud, I don't like asking for money.
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 Yeah. I've been taught
I've been taught
that I shouldn't like asking for money.
that I shouldn't like asking for money.
Yeah. And a part of me feels
And a
uh,
part of me feels uncomfortable
uncomfortable asking for money.
asking for money.
Yeah. And then you're gonna tap right here. Even though there's some discomfort,
Even though there's some discomfort,
I recognize
I recognize
there's something more I want.
there's something more I want.
Yes. And so we're gonna go back to the top. And so I release
And so I release,
and let go of this discomfort.
let go of this discomfort.
That's right. So you're gonna tap the third eye one more time where you can touch both brows. I release and I let this go.
I release and I let this go.
You're gonna tap the side of your eyebrow. I release and I let this go.
I release and I let this go.
I'm gonna tap under your eye. I deserve to feel at ease.
I deserve to feel at ease.
Yes, yes. I deserve to feel good about earning money.
I deserve to feel good about earning money.
Yeah, excellent. So you're gonna grab any wrist, one side will do, and now take the biggest inhale you've taken all day, and exhale twice as long. I release and I let this go.
I release and I let this go.
Okay, how are you feeling now?
Like I need to write it in my journal.
Oh yeah? Okay, you
Yeah.
could do that. You could do
Like
that.
just to be like, okay, you need to go back and like not get caught up in other things. just like have this goal.
That's okay. Wait, slow down. Because sometimes when people do this kind of work, they're like, oh, I need to feel completely safe, completely secure. No, that's not gonna happen. Let's be
Yeah.
real. Part of it, part of you is gonna feel awkward. Not
Yeah.
because you don't deserve to earn more money, not because, you aren't doing great work and you're bringing tremendous, but because society has programmed our brains from an age when we were so young that our brains were
Yeah.
so malleable that now it just feels like it's the truth that it's uncomfortable to ask for money.
Yeah.
Many men, not all men, but some men, right? Feel very comfortable asking for money. Why? Because there is such a thing called gender socialization,
Yeah.
right? And so
Mhm.
we just recognize discomfort is a social construct.
Yeah.
And we recognize if women, we do feel it. It doesn't make us wrong. And so
Mhm.
we recognize if it feels awkward, you're probably doing it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if it feels awkward, sending the email, like asking for a meeting, if it feels awkward, like, hey, I like to be compensated according to the value that I'm
Yeah.
to bring and secure for this agency, know that you're doing it right.
Yeah. 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 It's just getting to that, like doing the thing,
Yeah.
because I can sit and be like, I know I deserve it. I know I'm not asking for too much. And then, but
Yeah.
it's that getting over that, like, this is awkward.
Yeah. It's gonna be awkward. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
How do you want to, like, when you imagine that you have asked, that you have initiated it and you have asked, what's that what's that like for you when you imagine it's already done? I don't know. I know you gave birth, so I don't know, like I heard giving birth is extremely uncomfortable. Like, I mean,
Yeah. Something so different. It's like this feeling of uh of rebel, like if you're asking for something more, you're like rebelling, or you're like being like disobedient or something, but like
yes, we're being disobedient to a
yeah.
sexist socialization that has women under earning their potential. Yes,
Yeah.
rebelling against that for
Yeah.
sure.
And like in my head, I'm like, yes, that is like that. I totally get that. And then when you bring it into the real world, I'm still like, eh. So it, like, I know it's a learning process, and I
Yeah.
know it'll take a while, but I mean, just realizing that that's kind of where my block is too, I think is going to be helpful.
Okay. Yeah. And so when you imagine that you did get over it and you did have the conversation, right?
Yeah. I think I'll just be happier at work. I'll just be happier at work. I'll just feel I won't feel so like, oh yeah, I'll respond to this, like this
Yeah.
frustration, always like a
Right.
cloud.
Right.
Yeah.
Happier because you knew that you advocated for your value.
Yeah.
You did
Yeah.
something that, is uncomfortable, is awkward, but very, very brave.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also a conversation that can have a really great impact, a positive impact, because, in my experience, when I have that kind of conversation, when I've had that conversation, even if they weren't able to just like immediately give me more money, they're like, okay, we know that you want more money. We're going to keep that in mind. We need to retain this person because this person is doing consistent work, diligent work, quality
Yeah.
work. So the money eventually comes,
Yeah.
even if it's not immediate. That's my experience and some of my clients' experience.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping for too, and why I'm like, okay, well, if I can't have money, then maybe having a 4-day work week will work. Then I could spend this on childcare. Like in my head, I go,
Right, right. But
uh,
first, we need to establish that you're bringing value, right? You're now responsible for more value. And so now
yeah,
we're saying, how do we adjust the compensation or even whatever the structure so that it's commensurate,
yeah,
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 the value.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
cool, yeah, awesome, yeah.
All right.
I work, but yeah, thank you.
You're so welcome. All right, let me know how it goes. I'm going to what am I gonna do? I'm gonna put you back
Yeah.
to attendee.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Unless there's anyone else who wants one-on-one support, I'm gonna give the person, whoever wants to raise their hand next, I'm gonna give them like 10 seconds. And then we're going to do the mental rehearsal. Okay, so Courtney, thank you so much for volunteering, and you're amazing. Like, how amazing is the female body, right? I mean, our bodies are literally magic. Our bodies literally create life. I mean, consciousness. It's so cool. And again, I know I'm kind of recapping what I said, but if you feel uncomfortable asking for money, just ask yourself, what if this isn't me, but it's actually something that I've been taught? I'm reading this fabulous book called Mindfulness by Dr. Ellen Langer at Harvard, and she is the foremost leader on all things mindfulness. I know we have some meditators in this Zoom room today. I see you, Rachel. You know, and she is the foremost leader on mindfulness, and she talks about in her book Mindfulness how there is a thing called premature cognitive commitment. Premature cognitive commitment refers to when, like, we are taught something before we're exposed to a perspective or a mindset before we really had the ability to question it, right? And from a very young age, women, girls, like, we still live in this, sexist world where often money was handled by men. And if, when I was growing up, if my mom was working outside the home, it was considered like weird and odd. I was born in South Korea. It was very patriarchal when I was growing up. And like women were expected to be housewives, right? Or nurses or teachers. And so from just that, milieu, from being exposed, that we get, we internalize this thought, oh, money, I shouldn't, that's not, asking for money, that's uncomfortable. Yeah. And so if it feels uncomfortable, question, is this a premature cognitive commitment that my brain latched onto because, it was exposed to me at a very young age, or maybe it's, not really anything about me personally. Maybe it's actually a result of gender socialization. And so when we acknowledge that, we're like, okay, this awkwardness, it makes sense, right? It makes sense because we have conscious and unconscious minds. And so at an unconscious level, it might feel like, right? But we're like, okay, but consciously, I can recognize that discomfort, that awkwardness, that means nothing about the true value I bring to the organization. And it says nothing about my worthiness. Yeah. Let us do mental rehearsal. Okay, so everyone here who's watching live or watching the replay, I want you to think about, what is a conversation, a brave conversation, that if I were to have that, it's going to make me feel so happy that I did it, that, I took a chance, that I voted for myself, that I acknowledged openly the value I bring. Like, what's that one conversation? For Courtney, it was the salary conversation. And for you, maybe it's something else. I want you to think about it. And now I want you to think about how you want to feel at the end of having said what you wanted to say. Okay, keep that in mind. And now everyone, you're going to, again, put your palms up like this. And this time you're going to open your palms and place them flat open on your lap, right? Like a meditative, open meditative pose, okay? And now we're just gonna take a couple of deep breaths to anchor into this moment. So let's just take a deep breath into the belly and exhaling twice as long. And if you feel comfortable, I invite you to either close your eyes. And if you're in a place where closing your eyes is not really an option, maybe just simply diffuse or soften your gaze. Yeah. And now, what I'm going to ask you to do is simply bring your attention to your right open palm. You don't have to do anything. You simply bring your attention to your right open palm and just notice what's there. Do you sense some warmth, some tingling? And now bring that attention to the inside of your right elbow. And again, nothing to do, just notice. And now your right shoulder, your left shoulder, the inside of your left elbow, your left open palm, your right palm, your right elbow, your right shoulder, your left shoulder, your left elbow, your left palm, your right palm, your right elbow, your right shoulder, your left shoulder, your left elbow, your left palm. And in this slightly relaxed state, I want you to imagine a movie screen in your mind's eye, big movie screen in your mind's eye. And in that movie screen, see the version of you that is feeling relieved, that is feeling happier because she has said the things she wanted to say. She has done the things that she wanted to do to articulate and advocate for her value. And in that movie screen, notice how she seems. Does she seem to be sitting taller with her shoulders relaxed? Does she seem lighter? Maybe you can even imagine what she's wearing and what she's noticing around her. Make that image very vivid on that movie screen. And if that feels good, now I invite you to simply imagine that you can float right into that movie screen so that you can embody all of the steps, the small steps and the big steps and the brave steps that led you to having done, having completed what you wanted to complete. And also embody all of the inner resources that helped you get there. And just allow yourself to feel into that. And in a moment, but not yet, I'll be asking you to come out of that movie screen into this present moment, but you will be able to bring with you that inner knowing, the resources and the steps. Okay. So you might feel yourself maybe wanting to wiggle your toes, maybe roll your shoulders back, maybe take a big stretch, and you can open your eyes. All right. I trust that everyone followed along. I'd love to know, let me know in the chat, what was that like for you? Or what came up for you? You could also raise your hand if you want to tell me. Do we have a shy crowd today? Yeah, Amy, I realized I want you to feel seen and empowered. Okay, excellent. Excellent. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay, so while we're waiting, I want you to ask yourself, now that you've, done that mental rehearsal and visualize yourself having completed, having asked or having said, having done the thing that helps you feel more seen, helps you feel more empowered, what do you notice? What do you notice might be the smallest, tiniest next step forward? So Amy, what do you think will be the tiniest, smallest next step forward for you? I don't know, maybe it's scheduling a chat, or maybe it's like we had Courtney's example, like thinking through, okay, what is the value? What's my best guess as to what is the value that I am bringing, right? Some suggestions, or maybe you want to like jot it down, maybe journal, or maybe you just ask someone to have a conversation with you. All right, so uh, I see Amy is saying, be very clear about my intentions for the next conversation. Yes, get the narrative down about my impact. Yeah, excellent, excellent. Okay, so as you may already know, if you would like to dive deeper with me, you can book a free consultation. And I'm gonna give you the direct link to that. Okay, that's where you can, jamieleecoach.com/apply. I do have sliding scale options, and I do have options for shorter engagement other than the 6-month coaching program. Having said that, I would love to know what you are taking away from today's value articulation clinic. We talked about voting for yourself, why it's important. We talked about salary negotiation. We talked about the positioning, how to frame a salary negotiation. So you're really talking about the value as opposed to, you know, something personal. So that's a business conversation. We did some EFT, yeah, to help reduce the awkwardness. And we also embrace that if it feels awkward, you're doing it right. I know I have some previous clients on this call right now, and this is what I literally preach to them all the time, and it works. You know, when you embrace, yeah, it's going to be a little bit awkward, but this is what I want to do, because on the other side of that awkward conversation is something so much more richer than doubt, so much more richer than the fear of looking awkward. And we also did mental rehearsal, and it is a way to help you relax. And the reason why I think it's really important is because of that conscious, unconscious, or you could even think about it as cognitive dissonance that results from being exposed to, you know, this thought that like we shouldn't ask for money, or that it's awkward, or like we need to just always think about it somebody else, we shouldn't, all this BS sexist thoughts that we end up unintentionally internalizing. Yeah, so an example of that was the premature cognitive commitment that Dr. Ellen Langer talks about, right? Or that money is limited, or that if we ask for something, it would be selfish, greed, all of that, right? So that's like creates a lot of noise in our brain that makes us feel like we can't really ask for something we want. And so when we relax, right, quiet the critical faculty in our brain, we're able to better access the unconscious brain. We're able to better access, you know, the vast majority of our you know, cognitive or subconscious, that helps to create a better alignment. And for me, that's really important, because I feel most confident, I feel most comfortable, most authentic when I feel like I am speaking in a way that's congruent, right? With what I want, what I believe, and what I want. I already said that, what I want and what I believe and who I am. All right. I'd love to know what you're taking away. If you could enter that into the chat, I'd appreciate it. And we're going to conclude this session of Value Articulation Clinic. You're welcome to book your free consultation at any time. And if you have any questions, you can email me at jamie@jamieleecoach.com. And if you'd like me to bring my workshops to your group or to your women's group, let me know. I do this. I can bring the webinar and the detailed steps to your organization. All right, everyone. Yeah, you're taking, okay, Amy says she's taking away, I deserve to feel good about earning or earning and, I should say, earning and making more money. Yeah, of course. Of course. All right. See you later, everyone. Bye.